In May last year, Isabel May walked into the opportunity of a lifetime when she was cast as not just the protagonist but also the narrator of Taylor Sheridan's series 1883. Preparing to helm the Warner Brothers Wonder Twins as one half of the sibling duo, Isabel May hadn't prepared or hoped for this role. Here's how it went down. First up, Isabel May served as an inspiration for Sheridan's next. That's right, May didn't just embody a character Sheridan had already decided on, she might just be the reason the character, and subsequently the story, came to Sheridan. Now, when the two met in May last year, Sheridan was pretty much stumped. He was at the reins of Warner Brothers series 1883, a prequel to the Western drama he created, Yellowstone. 1883 takes us several generations back and narrates how the Dutton clan came to own the land they live on in Yellowstone. Despite a resurgence of Western dramas, there are only too many ways you can resuscitate the genre. There's obviously Yellowstone that uses the genre to talk of alienation and loneliness. Then we had The Power of the Dog, which bravely tackled themes around sexuality, the dysfunction that each family unit has, unresolved grief, sanitary precautions to take when handling dead animals, and alcoholism. There was also that bit about who the land belongs to, the settlers or the indigenous people, and about the simmering love that mirrored the enemy to lovers arc we so enjoyed as teenagers. Did we miss anything? That film had a lot going on. So, as we were saying, and Sheridan would agree, it seemed that all themes had been exhausted in the genre, which left Sheridan's 1883 without a hook that could anchor it, or a central theme that could bring him ideas. In walked May, who had come to discuss a potential role as the female head opposite Jeremy Renner, in another show from Sheridan, Mayor of Kingstown. In the meeting, both agreed that the role wouldn't be right for May, but a light had turned on in Sheridan's head. He looked at the fresh-faced young actress and realized she could bring a kind of naivety to the role. The innocence she could project would refresh even a genre that had begun to seem stale. He decided then that not only would she be the lead of his show, she'd also be its narrator. So how did May react to this career-turning offer? We mean, she was obviously excited, but there was so much work to be done before she could even properly say yes. She had already been greenlighted for another series from Warner Brothers, Wonder Twins, opposite Riverdale's KJ Apa. The company had to be convinced to let Sheridan take a leap of faith and pull May out of the project. She also had to trust Sheridan enough to remove herself from all pilot season opportunities, and give in fully to the character of Elsa Dutton. Even in this blurred haze, May could find time to be grateful. Speaking of her role, she called it the greatest role she would play in her lifetime. But we have to disagree there. She was also bemused by Sheridan's choice, saying she didn't understand what about her could have influenced him like that. Ever so self-effacing are May. But really, when the director who once returned Jennifer Lawrence's money in an acting class he was tutoring because he recognized that he had nothing to teach her calls you a generational talent, you trust him. And what did the shooting look like for May? Her dreams may have come true in the casting meet that took an unexpected turn, but the journey was long for May. Although she says she enjoyed working on the series, it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. There was the time when May couldn't stop or hide her shivering while riding a horse in 18 degrees in Montana. Another time, she had to be half submerged in the icy waters and naturally lost all feeling. It was apparently so unbearable that she lunged out of the water, hurling a series of expletives. But there were some beautiful moments too. Once, while shooting, she and the cast saw a cow give birth. The calf came into the world and began to bound around the fields. As she recalls, it took them some time to digest this beautiful moment. Then there was the opportunity to loosen her boundaries in a kind of character she had never encountered before. Here's the other reason the show was so special. 1883 obviously holds a special place in May's heart. It gave her her big break and called on the world to see her sheen as an extraordinary talent. But for other cast members, the time they spent rehearsing and filming was also a unique experience. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw played James and Margaret Dutton, Elsa's parents, who she frequently butts heads with. This was the first time that Hill and McGraw, a real-life couple, could be together on screen. To our surprise, the duo didn't practice their lines together. Faith said they wanted to retain some spontaneity and really just lose themselves in the characters instead. Well, understandable, we guess. If you're going to spend some time at home and on set with the same person, it's okay to want some me time when you prepare for an emotionally challenging role. And they also talked about that scene. Yes, the one where the two are canoodling in a bathtub and Margaret snips James' unruly beard. The two were actually quite nervous about doing it under the glare of a camera, in front of an entire crew. But as Faith remembers, the crew made them feel super comfortable. Aw, we're glad they did. It was probably also Tim's humor that eased the two into the scene and the tub. Apparently, he got so pumped to get over with the scene that he just told himself not to cover up, and to just let everyone see. Honestly, we need need more jacked-out men in this country to have this approach towards work. Starting with, another Yellowstone spin-off is on its way. Looks like the audiences, Warner Brothers, and Sheridan haven't quite tired of the rich political landscape and messy emotional worlds of the Yellowstone verse. This one, however, will take the focus away from the Duttons, who have been the protagonists of the series so far. Instead, the show will introduce viewers to an unlikely character, Bass Reeves. Little is known of him today, but the legend has been described as one of the greatest frontier heroes in American history in promotions for the show. So, who was he? Born in 1838, Reeves was a slave who had escaped into Indian Territory during the Civil War. There he learned to talk to the Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole tribes. The man worked as a federal police officer in the post-Reconstruction era. Legend has it he captured over 3,000 criminals without bearing a single wound on himself. Reeves, with his race and background, defied all expectations of a frontier hero. A black man when slavery was still legal, Reeves earned his names in the annals of history and was as quickly forgotten. It's now time to remember a forgotten but not fallen hero. And now, Taylor Sheridan became a writer thanks to this insult. Taylor Sheridan has had a roundabout path to screenwriting success. He was born on a ranch in Texas and was content with his quaint, though challenging life. In his own words, he would still be living there had his family not lost all their property in the early 90s. But he did leave, and he ended up getting a place, then dropped out of Texas State University. He later moved to New York, where he started working bit parts. Again, the happy-go-lucky man wouldn't have moved past these had it not been for one TV attorney's cruelty. In 2003, Sheridan was playing Deputy Chief David Hale on Sons of Anarchy, and not really making too much money. When his attorney pointed this out, the jerk business affairs attorney was clear. Taylor may be worth more than his pay, but there are 50 guys just like him who would happily replace him in the show. For a dissatisfied Sheridan, this was the final straw. Sheridan said goodbye and good riddance to the show, the profession, began writing scripts, and never looked back. With his continued critical and commercial success, he proved one thing to the attorney: there aren't too many guys who are like him. Finally, here's why Stepford made Faith Hill want to quit acting. Faith Hill, already a country music superstar at the time, made her film debut in 2004 with Frank Oz's remake of The Stepford Wives, and she wanted to stop right after. Wow! In a recent interview, Faith talked at length about her acting career and personal challenges. She also admitted that working on the film made her realize that she'll never ever do another film. We believed you on the third ever, Faith. And this isn't because Oz f***ed up with this film. Those are his words, not ours. The film business had more waiting than she'd have liked. For someone who likes to be occupied, she didn't vibe with the slowness of the business. Lucky for her, Faith was able to take a long break from acting and focus on starting a family with McGraw. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Were you able to catch the latest installment of 1883? Do you think Sheridan was right in his judgment of Isabel? Tell us in the comments. As always, hit like if you liked our video, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future uploads. We'll see you in the next one.